The automatic doors slid open. Travelers rushed past with luggage, boarding passes, and passports clutched tightly in their hands. Announcements echoed through the terminal in different languages. Planes landed, planes departed, and in the middle of it all, one man stayed behind, not for a day, not for a week, but for years. His name was Mehran Karim Nasri, and for nearly 2 decades, he lived inside one of the busiest airports in the world. This is the unbelievable true story of the man trapped between countries, with nowhere on earth to go. Mehran Karimi Nasri was born in Iran in 1945. As a young man, he dreamed of freedom and a better future. He studied abroad and became interested in politics. According to reports, he protested against the government of the Shah of Iran. Then everything changed. Nasri claimed he was expelled from Iran in the 1970s because of his political beliefs. Suddenly, he became a man without a home, without protection, without certainty. For years, he traveled across Europe, trying to seek asylum and refugee status. Eventually, the United Nations gave him refugee papers in Belgium. It seemed his nightmare was finally over. But fate had something else planned. In 1988, Nasri boarded a train, heading toward France. His goal was simple. He wanted to travel to the United Kingdom and start a new life there. But somewhere during the journey, disaster struck. His bag, containing all of his identification, papers, and refugee documents, disappeared. Without those papers, everything collapsed instantly. When he arrived at Heathrow Airport in London, officials refused to let him enter the country. But because he had no valid documents, France also struggled to officially accept him back. He became trapped in a legal nightmare. No country would fully claim him. No country would fully accept him. He was suddenly a man who officially belonged to nowhere. French authorities eventually allowed Nasri to remain inside the international transit zone of Charles de Gaulle Airport. At first, he believed the situation would be temporary. A few days, maybe a few weeks. But weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. And slowly, the airport became his entire world. He slept on red plastic benches under the bright fluorescent lights. He washed in airport restrooms. He kept his belongings stacked neatly beside him in carts and bags. Passengers came and went. Airport workers changed shifts. Entire generations of travelers passed through the terminal, but Nasri remained there, always waiting. At first, many people ignored him. Then staff members began noticing the quiet man sitting alone every day. Some airport employees brought him food. Others gave him newspapers, clothes, and small gifts. Eventually, he became something of a legend inside the airport. Workers called him Sir Alfred, a name he reportedly chose for himself. Travelers would stop and stare. Some thought he was homeless. Others believed he was mentally ill. But many became fascinated by him. Imagine living in an airport. No privacy, no real bed, no fresh air for long periods. Constant noise, announcements every few minutes, rolling suitcases, crying babies, jet engines roaring in the distance, day after day, year after year. Yet somehow, Nasri adapted. He read books and magazines endlessly. He wrote in journals. He watched people move through the terminal while his own life stood completely still. As years passed, journalists from around the world heard about the mysterious man living in an airport. Television crews interviewed him. Newspapers wrote articles about him. People could hardly believe the story was real. How could someone live in an airport for years? How could governments allow this to happen? But the deeper reporters looked, the more complicated the situation became. Some officials claimed the legal issues could be solved if Nasri completed paperwork correctly. Others said he refused certain offers because he wanted to go specifically to Britain. Over time, the truth became difficult to untangle. What was undeniable, however, was this. The airport had become his home, and after living there for so long, leaving may have become more frightening than staying. Eventually, Nasri's bizarre story caught Hollywood's attention. In 2004, director released the movie starring. The film told the fictional story of a man trapped inside an airport after political chaos leaves him unable to enter any country. Although the movie changed many details, it was heavily inspired by Nasri's real-life experience. Suddenly, millions of people around the world learned about the lonely man who had spent years trapped inside an airport terminal. After approximately 18 years inside Charles de Gaulle Airport, Nasri's time there finally came to an end in 2006. But it did not end the way people expected. He wasn't dramatically rescued. He didn't suddenly receive citizenship and walk into a brand new life. Instead, his health declined. He was taken to a hospital for medical treatment, ending his long stay in the terminal. By then, airport life had changed him deeply. The outside world no longer felt normal. The airport, noisy, crowded, artificial, had become the only reality he truly knew. Even after leaving the airport, Nasri struggled to fully rebuild a normal life. For years, he moved between shelters, hotels, and temporary housing in France. Then came an astonishing twist. In 2022, reports emerged that Mehran Karimi, Nasri had returned once again to Charles de Gaulle Airport. The place that had imprisoned him for years had somehow become the place he felt most connected to. Not long afterward, he died inside the airport, where his story had become famous. The man who once had nowhere to go had returned to the one place that remembered him. Every day, airports are filled with people chasing somewhere new. Vacations, business trips, family reunions, escapes, dreams. But for Mehran Karimi Nasri, the airport became something entirely different. A prison, a shelter, the home. His story is more than just a strange headline. It's a haunting reminder of what happens when identity, borders, and bureaucracy collide with human life. Because sometimes, the scariest thing in the world is not being lost. It's having nowhere you are allowed to belong. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe, because there's many more intriguing stories to come.